Stuck back for Arfield. 1-0 Burnley. Scott Arfield. He's been threatening that recently. And all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end. Burnley win the next ball. It's Rory now. On the outside. Decent. Barnes! He got it! Ashley Barnes with it. What a cross from Rory. And there was Ashley Barnes. And Burnley leading the derby. Knocks it quickly. Finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell. Saved by the keeper. Burnley won it to the end. That is magnificent. They deserve that. Only by Paul Patella. Off for a hat-trick. He's got it. Hat-trick for Nathan Teller. Oh, he's on fire at the minute. 3-0 Burnley. It's Nathan Teller's day. And Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby. Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. He's have a shot. Oh, what a goal. Manuel Benson once more. That is top class. Burnley have done it. Fantastic. Clarets deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello everybody, welcome along to the latest episode of the Turfcast podcast, full-time show with me, Joe Redmond, after Burnley's vital draw down at Stamford Bridge against all the odds. It would have been against all the odds pre-kickoff, and it was definitely against all the odds after the incompetent refereeing, as you can see by the title. But I'm sure we'll get into that, but we're going to try and have a positive show and not let the referees ruin it too much, but we will, of course, have to discuss it because it was so bad. But as you can see, I'm joined by Sam and I'm joined by Liam, both giving up their Easter Sundays for Turfcast, so I really do appreciate it. How are we doing, boys?
Not bad at all, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I've had a good Easter. I've had a few chocolate eggs. I'm not going to lie to you. I've had a Sunday roast as well. I've had a couple of ales at the Bay Horse Inn up at Westthorne, so I'm feeling giddy. It's been a good Easter.
It's what Jesus would have wanted.
Exactly.
It's what he died for. Well, in fact, no, it's what he's risen for. Because today's the day he came back, innit? I don't know. I'm not really into all this Jesus stuff, but I think today's the day he came back.
We're over it.
This is why he came back. He could smell the roast in the oven, and that's why Jesus came back. So Easter Sunday is the day that we eat roast. But it's good to see some of the usual names in the comments. We've got Raj, and he says, brilliant performance yesterday. Haven't seen that much grit, passion, and determination since the Dyche days. Get me on that delusion train. Choo-choo, motherfucker. It's running. Matthew Corbett says, Dara O'Shea, ole. The Robinson. See, mate, I didn't call you Theo that time because for months I thought your name was Theo Robinson. He says, can't believe I've made it to the live stream. Welcome, mate. Liam Beach says, we are staying up. Then he says, Murich. Hope my hair's okay for you today, Liam. It's a little bit of a mess, I'm not going to lie. I haven't brushed it. Claret and Blue 1882 says, hell yeah, we are staying up. Matthew Corbett says, class performance yet again. Luton, Everton, Forest. All are shocking at the moment. We have just hit some form. Bring on the survival party. Claret and Blue 1882 says the season has started. Adrian Brown says, fire the officials. Twin Cities Claret says, season starts now. Exactly. Claret Owl says, evening all. Kieran Dean, if only J Rod had scored yet, we'll get into that. Jamie says, evening lads. The True Red says, ridiculous officiating again for Burnley. It's beyond a joke. Definitely wasn't a penalty. Yes, there's an arm, but it's normal when tracking someone back. Wasn't enough for sending down the refs being fooled. Exactly that. And we will get into all that, but it's good to see all the usual names. John Payne, up the Clarets, Twin Cities again. Jesus was a Claret. It probably was, mate. Burnley season 30 says, hello, lads. But before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that the Turfcast podcast full-time show is now officially sponsored by Wave Car Finance. Wave Car Finance are a local car finance company who specialise in getting you your dream car through their fantastic one-to-one personalised service. Their finance-first approach ensures that you can secure the very best finance in a deal tailored to suit you, and they can even settle any existing finance agreement and swap your current car into a new one. And to celebrate this brilliant partnership between Wave Car Finance and Turfcast. If you mention Turfcast podcast to them, they will give you a voucher worth up to £200 to spend at the Burnley FC Club Shop on completion of your finance deal. So why not pop down to their stunning showroom in Warley, or give them a call, or even just send them an email or message them on social media to start your new car adventure today. Right, lads, Sam, I'll come to you first. Thoughts on that game then, mate? And I know there's a lot to cram into it. We will try and single out the referee decision soon and some other bits soon, but your overall thoughts on that game and the result, please, mate.
Honestly, like, just immensely proud. Like, it's such an achievement to go away from home at Stamford Bridge, go down to 10 men through, like, we'll get on to very dubious decisions, and put in the performance like we did in the second half. Like, me, like everybody else, no one's fooling themselves. We thought 10 men, they've just got a penalty, they've scored it 1-0 going at half time. There's no way we come back from that. And the grit and determination to go into that game or go into that second half and put in that performance and genuinely feel cheated of, genuinely getting another 2 points and having 3 points overall in the day. It's something to be immensely proud of, and it's something really to build off of now. This is 3 pretty good performances back to back, and team selection's been relatively consistent as well. Shame that Assignon's suspended now, but I really genuinely think that we are in a fantastic. I've just seen that comment. It's a Rocky Balboa dressing
I've
gown.
seen him in that dressing gown, Claret. I can vouch for that. And that sounds worse than I meant it.
There you go. Gone. Right.
Are they your boxers or are they shorts that you're wearing, Sam?
Well, I'm not disgusting. What do you mean?
I feel so bad for people that are listening just from audio, because they must be so confused right now.
They're just going to be sat there saying Sam's in his boxers and he's got laundry on the back of it. Like, what's going on? But yeah, no, honestly, like, such a brilliant performance. I think VK got things right as well.
Subs as well.
And I think the subs were brilliant as well. I think the subs actually genuinely worked. But then, for me, the biggest thing is Muric. The last 2 performances that have been so good, Aro Muric has been in goal. And it's telling. It's so telling. The revival of Cullen in centre midfield as well. He's come back and been amazing. All things seem to be ticking for us, like the points deductions, and we genuinely are now in a position where I really genuinely feel that we can really push on now. I'm not getting my hopes up completely yet, but I am in delusion land. We're staying in the league. Come on.
I mean, we'll get on to Muric and stuff more in a bit, but I completely agree. It's no coincidence that the defence looks a lot better. Dara O'Shea suddenly looks a lot better as well. And that's when Muric is in. But of course, Cullen, he's come in recently as well, and he's a really big part of it. But we'll get on to them too as well in a little bit. Liam, your thoughts and overall opinions on the match, please, and the impressive point for Burnley.
I mean, it does make a world of difference, and does indeed shock me to the high heavens that when you play your best goalkeeper, you do better in football matches. And when you play, a player which knows fundamentally the core aspect of each style of play of our manager, when you start playing him, he also makes the team better too. I mean, I thank Trafford each day for being so poor that he put Brownhill in a position to get a red card against Palace, because if that did not happen, then would we be in a situation? Would Cullen even be given a start again? Would Muric even be brought in? Because I don't know what would have happened if that never happened in the first place. Because don't forget as well, prior to that red card, we were absolutely atrocious at Palace. So don't get it twisted. We were not going to win that game nonetheless.
Yeah, we were dreadful at
Palace. I just cannot believe how much difference a goalkeeper can really make on a football team. It's remarkable. And fantastic game, as I said on Twitter and on the report as well. Fight, bravery, desire, and just like Burnley have done for many times and will do it continuously for many more years in the future against the odds. And that felt like a Burnley performance. One that at times we've been here on the show really going at the place, and this doesn't feel like Burnley. I've got no connection to these players. They don't even look like they even want to be here. Arsenal home felt like the real tipping point for many people. And there was many other games prior to that felt like they weren't really wanting it. But the tide has turned right now, and it's turned at the absolute most perfect time. And I am so happy that, again, winning games of football makes a massive difference in terms of your morale to the team and your connections to the players. But thank God Trafford's shit. That's all I'm going to say. Thank God he got Brownhill sent off. I'm sorry, because without that, our season's done. Again, Trafford, young kid. I feel bad the fact that he's been put into the deep end so much, and I don't want to talk about him again after this because, he's not even playing. But I love Muric, and he has changed us completely. And again, Chelsea, I'm going to say it, they were there for the taking in terms of we actually should have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
We should have won that game. Alderbert's chance, Fofana's chance in the start of the second half as well. Fantastic ball from Cullen. And of course, Jay Rodriguez, which I don't blame him at all for missing because he's off balance for that second shot. But Chelsea were so poor, and we went for them. And fair play for the lads for doing that.
Yeah, obviously, I think we said Fofana chance, and I think it was Foster, wasn't it, in the second half? I can't remember. Obviously, Fofana wasn't. Yeah. Somebody did point out early, we did this without Fofana as well. I hadn't even thought of that. Like, we did it without Fofana. We did it without Assignon, a man down, without a manager, and without Fofana. So with all them on there, we could have gone on to win it. However, we'll get into that, and how I feel that it wasn't a blessing in disguise. That's the wrong way, but the sending off forced us to defend in a way, and that's why our defending was much better in the second half than it was in the first half. But we'll get on to that. And I know I said it has to be a positive one, and it is a positive one. But there is, of course, a big elephant in the room, and that's the red card. And you can see it on your screen now if you're watching on YouTube. Apologies if you're listening on the podcast, but we do have some visual cues for the live viewers. But obviously, I can't show it. This image actually makes it look worse than what it is, as images always do. But I can't obviously show the live images. It's soft, to put it politely. It's scandalous to put it honestly. It's like, look at the way his feet's going from underneath him now, Mudryk. Like, there's obviously contact there, but it's just an arm on the shoulder. You are allowed to put your arm on the shoulder. He's not pulling him back. He's not using any force. He's not pushing him. Nothing. It's a ridiculous decision. And the fact that he got... I know exactly. Like, Mudryk's never in control of the ball at that point. It's just scandal. I just don't understand. But when you see the referee's angle, you can kind of get why he's probably giving it, even though you still think it's wrong. And I know this will probably set off a Sam rant, so I apologise if it does, but I know everybody loves it, but I'm apologising for your heart rate, Sam, more than anything. What is the point of VAR? What is the point? If they look at that and they'll be like, yeah, that's fair enough. I can see why you've given that, mate. That's a penalty. It's not a penalty. It is a clear and obvious error. There's no way it's a penalty, and there's no way it's a second yellow card. And like you said, the end of the second half, you're going into half-time, a man down, a goal down, and obviously Palmer did the Panenka penalty as well, so you're probably thinking a little bit pissed off with that, and now it's done that. But yeah, some of the comments coming in, Sam, I'll come to you in a second. Harry says, embarrassing decision. Honestly, baffling. Tony says, it is cheating. Claret and Blue 1882 says, there wasn't enough force for Mudryk to go down like he'd been shot in the back. Exactly. True Red says, goes down looking for that like all the big clubs do. Yep. John Payne says, I will always say it's the softest penalty I've ever seen. Probably up there, mate. Harry says, that needs stamping out of the game, not rewarding with a penalty and a red card. Twin Cities Clarets says, should have been a yellow for Chelsea for simulation. And Tricky Disco Year 2000 says, refs should be booted out of the Prem. All of them should. They're absolutely scandalous.
Can I just add before, of course, Sam talks? John Payne saying, I will always say that is the softest pen I've ever seen. That's not even the softest pen we've had against us this season. No. Aston Villa.
That were a bad one.
That for me is much worse because it's so blatant. It's so blatantly cheating. Like that's not even the worst I've seen this season. So just want to add that in. It is.
They were both ridiculous dives. They were both ridiculous dives. None of them should have been given. Flyover Fred says, to quote Vinny, you effing cheaters. I've already swore already. I don't know why I'm censoring myself. Cynical dad. As we've just said, he wasn't even near the ball. Claret Owl says, it's physics that someone running flat out next to a player then cuts in front of him will mean a collision. Match of the day and TalkSport said no pen or yellow. And it was Stephen Warnock, a former bastard, that did sit there on Match of the Day and talk about, and I like Warnock, to be fair, he talks sense, but he did go on how he says there's no way it's a pen. But even Chris Sutton were taking Burnley's side. So that tells you all you need to know. Never a pen in a million years.
I've got the tweet here ready to list off as well. You know how bad it is if Chris Sutton is actually attacking us. Good
It is.
Lord.
But Sam, your thoughts on that penalty then, please, mate, and try and keep it to 45 minutes.
Yeah, I'll do my best, mate. Honestly, no. Like I say, it's not even. I agree with Liam. It's not the softest penalty that we've had this season, but I think it's by far the worst series of refereeing decisions that we've had. The first yellow card, I couldn't even tell you where the foul was in it. I don't know how he got
That's
the
what
first
I mean.
yellow
That's
card.
gone unnoticed a little bit because it ended up being sent off to a ridiculous decision. It's bollocks.
Exactly. Like I think it's the horrendous yellow card that he gets first, and then when it comes to the penalty, I think the only area where I can see that they've looked at it is the arm is in a stupid place, because it is. You don't need to put your arm that high. Even if he just puts it into his back, he's not going to go down in the same way. I think it's because it's up high. That's the only grounds that I can see that they've gone for it. The way in which he turns to the right to a ball where there's a covering defender and he's never going to get to. The way he falls over is like he's been thrown to the floor. Assignon might as well have blown on him.
Yeah,
because it was air that knocked him over. The fact that we then have an incompetent referee who, like you guys have said, like if the angle's there and he sees it from behind, he might give the penalty, he might give a red card. Fair enough. Why have we got VAR then? If you can watch that back and tell me that that's a penalty, then you're on some weird stuff, and I want no part in it. Because what on earth? How on earth have you got so many different screens in so many different angles to go back and look at that and conclusively say that you haven't made an error in judgment? You know, you've changed the entire course of a game. And in so many situations this season, we've had decisions go against us that have changed the course of A, results, and B.
Yeah, you could name about 10 games easily.
Exactly. And I just think it's ridiculous. But then you go into this Chelsea game and it's like I say, you go from the first yellow card, horrendous decision. He didn't even touch him. He just fell over in midfield. It was a normal tackle that, we've seen it in that City game today. There were about 100 fouls in that game. He didn't give a card for half of them. Jorginho had about 6 back-to-back. He didn't even give a... Have you muted?
I think you muted.
I think
Sorry, there's no consistency. I'm too busy screenshotting stuff.
Arguing at the microphone and everything like whatever.
But there's no consistency. All I'm going to say is I'm going to mention that. Going to mention that game. There's no consistency. How can you just let all these tackles floor that look like yellows, but then the referee's giving them out like candy in our games? It's bollocks.
Exactly, and I think that's my biggest issue with it is like we've then gone into the game, and like I said, we are going to talk more about the positives, because the positives are we went down to 10 men and we still battered Chelsea and should have won the game. So even VAR couldn't really help them, because they were absolutely awful. They're one of the worst teams I've seen play all season, and they battered us at home. Like, we were horrendous at home against them.
Yeah, they absolutely murdered.
These were absolutely horrific today, and it took all of these horrendous decisions from incompetent referees week upon week. You've got VAR for what reason? It does nothing. You've gone back and looked at that in so many different angles where you can see there's hardly a push, hardly any touch, and he's managed to give a penalty and a red card, which in normal circumstances would have changed the tide of the game. Not for us in that game. We had a fantastic performance. The resilience of the boys was fantastic. The way that they bounced back from that adversity is amazing. And those are the types of performances we've wanted to see all season. So if that's what I'm going off of in the last 2 games where we've had Muric in goal and things like that, and show the fight and something to back, then mate, I'm back on it. I've booked my ticket for Delusion train. I'm on my way to Delusion land. I don't care.
As Liam says, the season has started. It's well and truly started with Muric in goal. It's well and truly started now with Cullen. And it's just a shame that it's taken this long to this point, because if the season started now, like literally did start now, not just metaphorically as we've been saying for the last 6 weeks, if the season literally did start now, I'd be pretty confident we'd stay up. But we might have left it a little bit too late. But Liam, obviously the screenshot, you've just seen it. I'm sure you've seen the penalty a million times. What are your thoughts on the decision and the fact that Darren England gave it and the referee, the VAR official, whatever it was, decided to stick by it?
Well, there's many ways to go at this. I had 2 tweets to pop up. One was about Chris Sutton. Of course, Chris Sutton, we all know exactly his relation with Burnley and what he thinks about us.
Hates us.
The fact that he's backing us and thinking that we got robbed, and he, in his words, that it was an absolute disgrace, that's all I need to say. Tweet number 2 is by a Sutton Clarets roundup by Sam himself, I believe. which at the time
Back on
said,
Twitter now, we're doing well.
get me out of this league, utter shite, horrible division this. And I cannot even deny I felt the absolute same way.
Yeah, I think I tweeted something similar, yeah.
Like, look, right. If you've played football, two lads running at a ball that's gone over the top, you're running at speed, the ball changes in a sharp direction, and you both move in a sharp direction. It's not FIFA. You got weight behind you. Where are you going to put your hand? If you're turning direction at that speed, you can't just stop and then just turn immediately. You've got weight to you. So where is his hand going to go? That's the thing I don't really understand. Because that's what happens. You don't just your arm on, if your hands are not to the side. I feel like these officials, they just never played the game before. And again, as I saw in the chat, well, that's a great question, by the way. We all sadly watched that City v Arsenal game. Really poor game, really. So many times that the ref made a conscious decision to say, okay, I'm gonna let this game flow and not give yellow cards for, minor fouls. And that's completely different style of standard of refereeing and what constitutes as a foul and a yellow card as what this game that we played the other day did. And I saw Everton when they played Bournemouth, they had a penalty shout that, just to kind of add on to the inconsistency, Calvert-Lewin gets a ball, cuts behind, gets a tap basically in the exact same way as what the Aston Villa penalty did, but Calvert-Lewin fell for it. He fell, looked for a penalty, didn't get it. It's a dive. And it's like, well, same thing happened with us against Villa, but again, because I don't know. I don't get the consistency. I don't get why that's a penalty, but that isn't. It's just ridiculous. And I can somewhat maybe stomach it being a penalty just because the standards are so low in this division that anything could be a foul. But the yellow is just, that's despicable. Because he's nowhere near the ball. He's not going to get the ball. So he's not even stopping a clear goal scoring opportunity. Yeah. So it's a complete mess, really. And I believe I said some naughty words about Palmer in the group chat when he scored. I think an ugly rat bastard, I think. Because when I saw him Panecaros, I was fuming, I'll be honest with you.
I tried to be a little bit more political in the introduction. I tried not to use the word disrespectful, but it is. Like, you're telling me if he gets a penalty against City, he does that, there's no chance. And obviously, just to go back to the points we're making about the earlier game today, the City-Chelsea, and like you said, Liam, the referee constantly made a conscious decision of, I'm not going to blow my whistle here, I'm going to let the game flow. Or when he did blow, because I think it took like 18 fouls from Arsenal for him to book an Arsenal player. Double-check that stat, it's around that. But he made a conscious effort not to book them because he didn't want to ruin the game. And Neil's not here, so I'll kind of speak for him, but I know what he'll say. Like he always says, they make better decisions in these 4 o'clock games because they know the world's watching and they don't want to ruin the spectacle. They don't want to ruin the product. And they just don't give a shit, to be honest, about Burnley. They don't give a shit, to be honest, that they're going to ruin the spectacle of Chelsea versus Burnley because all they're bothered about is the Big Six. And I know it's probably an unconscious bias, but I do still stand by the fact that there is definitely a bias towards the Big Six in this league. And the fact that he gave that penalty against us yesterday and like you said, sent the player off as well. He didn't give a shit that he would ruin the game. Didn't give a flying sausage.
Well, do you want to know a funny statistic from that game? So there were 29 fouls, 20 of them were to Arsenal. Do you know there was only 2 yellow cards? Do you know they were both for time wasting?
See what I mean?
Both of them were for time wasting. Like
it's bullshit.
It's ridiculous, mate. Honestly, Jorginho had 3 in the same phase of play. 2 of them were blatant yellow card fouls, and the ref just said, "Come on, just leave it." Odegaard had 3, didn't get one. Assignon has 1 in midfield where someone's running through with 5 covering defenders and Josh Cullen, and he gets a yellow card for not even touching him. And then even like you say, even with the penalty, how do you give a yellow card for that? There's no intention to bring him down in that way. Even if you can stomach the penalty, like you said, there's absolutely no chance he's trying to do that. He's not trying to shove him to the floor. It's just velocity as 2 people are running. He's kicked the ball into his right that he's not even going to get. There's a covering defender there anyway. Assignon's just put his arm into him to turn with Mudryk. It's ridiculous. And the fact that we come on this podcast every week and talk about VAR decisions. There'll be other clubs that do it all the time. Other clubs feel the same about VAR. Everyone feels the same. The only people that don't are the weirdo referees that like to take part in it. It's just, it's weird.
You know, my favorite part about the FA Cup was when they were doing the games and he was at the home ground of like a championship team. Each time, without fail, that when they said to start, so this game would not have VAR, being overshadowed over this, and then you can literally hear the second call commentator literally saying "woohoo!" Literally every time without fail is like, oh, thank God for that. Every time without fail, and that's generally how I think everyone feels. Like, again, VAR technically isn't the issue; it is the people that are managing it. They're the problem.
Yeah,
but at this stage, it's almost like let the referees do their job. And if they're shit, at least I can stomach that, like just in the moment. But for me, VAR should be for offsides, because that's much more clear cut. Even they fought that up most times. But it's just a complete disaster all around. But hey, you know what? I kind of don't even want to talk about it because still, without with that, we still got a draw.
This is the problem, though, isn't it?
That's
what I mean, though. This is the problem with VAR, though, isn't it? Like, we've spent 27 minutes on what is a positive show, still talking about VAR, and it's ruining the game. But yeah, I don't want to get into it too much.
It's like you've got the comment there about Company's red card as well. It's like Company gets a red card for reacting to something that hundreds of thousands of people and people that don't even support Burnley have all reacted to as well, saying it's wrong. So how can his red card even stand? He's just, all he's doing is he's venting to the fourth official saying, what an awful decision your pals just made there. Like, because it's horrendous. And then you've got four pals at home watching it on telly's getting it wrong as well. And all Company's doing is going, those five need to give the red a check because they don't know what they're watching. But it's just horrendous.
I think that's a very kind way to.
But he's obviously said
I guarantee he's saying you cheating bastard. I guarantee he's saying that. I don't.
He said it a lot more forceful, but I still don't see how, like, I do get it, but I don't see how when you can make a decision that poor, how you can then turn around at the end of the game and say that red card can stand because you did swear at us. It's like, get a grip, man. You're old, you like adults as well. Like, get a grip of yourself. Like, just because he's told you F off does not mean that, or you got red card, you're not here for 3 games. Like, it's just pathetic, mate. Like, and then now we've got no manager, no Assignon, all because of 5 weirdos that don't know how to do the job properly. It's just, I just can't stand by it at all.
I do want to add, though, the interview by Craig Bellamy after the game. Just want to add in, very good interview. I don't know if you've seen it, to the lads in the chat as well. Go and give that a watch. It's, I think, 4 minutes long, but it's really good. It's really good from Craig Bellamy, actually, to be fair. And of course, he's now our, interim manager for the next game. So if he keeps a 100% unbeaten record in Prem.
Love that. And as Flyover Fred says, England was lucky Company didn't boot him down the touchline. That's exactly what I would have done. I think I'd have been facing charges if I were Company. But as Jack G7 says, weren't it the same shite ref that disallowed Berger's goal at Forest? He obviously means Foster's, as he does go on to correct that. But he was on VAR, wasn't it? I don't think he was the ref. But he was VAR. I don't think he hates Burnley or anything. I just think he's shite at his job. But anyway, we've spent too long going on about VAR, even though it is a big talking point, because, we shouldn't have had a man sent off and Company shouldn't have been sent off and it shouldn't have been a penalty. However, I said earlier, the term I don't want to use is blessing in disguise because it wasn't, but that red card forced us to defend a bit deeper, didn't it? Now, we played well in the first half. I will say that. We're unlucky to go in 1-0 down, as we've spent half an hour talking about, and we shouldn't have done. But the defence weren't great. They weren't making any mistakes as such, but because we were attacking so much, we were leaving gaps at the back, and we're having to force Muric into a few saves, and he was keeping us in it largely. But then in the second half, we defended so much better, didn't we? And I think that red card's forced us to, like I said, just defend a little bit deeper. And then I think that's ultimately probably why we got the point in the end, because we managed the game brilliantly. But you think that's a fair assessment, Sam? Or do you think without the red card, we could have gone on to win it?
I mean, it's all you don't know because it didn't happen. But I'd like to think that they were, they had 12 men on the pitch, and we ended up with 10, and we still played better. I think with 11 men, I think we'd have still given them a game. We wouldn't have gone down. We wouldn't have gone into the half 1-0 down. I think Company will have had, said, listen, lads, you're in this game. Just don't make any mistakes. Obviously, I know we've been prone to mistakes this season, but I do think the defensive side of the game was fantastic. I think their second goal was just good football. Like you have to take that on the chin. Like it's a good flick from Sterling. It's a good finish from Palmer. Like
it is. If I'm being super critical,
it's very open.
If I'm being super critical, the defenders do move towards the ball a little bit, but I agree with you. It's probably more good football.
But what I mean is like the way that they'd been attacking for so long wasn't through the middle. It was out wide, crosses across the box or pop shots from outside the box. So they probably just didn't expect it. Like they probably just stepped higher to stop the shot, stop the balls in behind. And Sterling's come out with a pretty, highly intelligent flick through to Palmer, and it's a good finish. But then again, you just couldn't count us out at all. And we got our second goal. Brilliant header from Dara, by the way. Fantastic header. Like, awful goalkeeping.
I'm going to say it's a good header, but the keeper's got to do
terrible goalkeeping. Like, it's in the exact right place. I don't know why the goalkeeper didn't just stand up and put his hands up and catch the ball. I don't know why he dived into it and then like dropped it into his own goal. But anyway, but yeah, I think defensively, I think really, really good. I think Esteve is getting better and better game by game. I think Vitinho was pretty good again. I think Charlie coming on at left back. I think
Charlie played well when he came on.
It just showed why Charlie Taylor is our best left back. And even if he had an injury, fair enough, he didn't start the game, but he has to play against Wolves. Has to play because he's so tight knit defensively. And if we can sit in those banks of four again, like we did, and then counter well, like we did against Chelsea with 10 men. With 11 men, the way that we're playing now, we're playing like a team with a bit of confidence behind us. We're not playing like a team in 19th place. We're playing like a team that knows that we're not 11 points adrift anymore. We're 4. And if we can pick up a win, we're right back in that situation. And I think we're playing now like a team that knows that. And it was lovely to see. So yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, don't disagree with anything you said there, to be honest with you, mate. I think Dara played well as well. And the thing is, I want to talk about it, but again, like, there's a lot of comments coming in about it. Danny Aston here says, Muric is our best player. I don't know what it is. He sends vibes through the team, and there's been a few more. Here, O'Shea and Esteve were both solid yesterday. And we did kind of briefly touch on Muric, didn't we, earlier, Liam? But he's come in and he's made a massive difference. The defenders are now better. Like, are the defenders better because they trust the goalkeeper behind them, or is it a case of, he's better at distributing, or he's coming out? Because there were a few times yesterday where he obviously does the sweeper thing and comes out and just mops it up, whereas Trafford just wouldn't be doing that one. But the whole team looks better. Well, the whole defensive unit looks better, and I do think that's because of Muric, if I'm honest with you.
Well, look, if you play 11 aside, or you play 6 aside, and you got a keeper that is the best goalkeeper, but he's not playing, and you got some second-rate lad behind you, do you play with a bit more? Are you a bit more stressed out? Yes, you are, and that's what's happening here. Muric is by far the better goalkeeper. We knew this in September. He's playing, and he's got an 8.3 and a 10 out of 10, which, by the way, doesn't happen on SofaScore.
I know, I've never seen that before.
He's conceded 2 goals, and he's still got a 10 out of 10. Remarkable. Yeah. My favorite highlight as well was for the last 25 minutes. I think he had maybe some sort of injury on his foot, or I thought it was just Jackson was on his arse the entire time, but he literally just threw it 50 yards for 25 minutes straight, perfectly to J-Rod's head every single time. And I saw a comment on Twitter, and it made me laugh quite a bit, saying that Muric can throw it further than Trafford can kick it, which I think is actually also quite accurate. So yeah, Muric, incredible. But to talk about the team, of course, Taylor was on the bench. I believe that's because he's had an issue with his toe, I believe, the last couple of weeks or so. Yeah, that's why he was on the bench and not starting, hence to explain why Vitinho got put as left back. And I kind of want to mention that because with Vitinho on the left-hand side alongside Amdouni, I hope to not see ever again.
Yeah.
Amdouni and Vitinho, I mean, Vitinho, it's not his fault, and I guess same thing with Amdouni. It's not the natural side, it's not the natural position, but they were so error prone, and basically every attack that Chelsea had from that first half happened from that left hand side, from just an error. And Vitinho, I think, is actually not bad defensively, but he's just at least he can make a mistake high up the pitch, and it's not as dramatic. But when he's doing it at a fullback position, it makes me a bit nervous. Of course, he should now be playing right back next game because Assignon, I doubt will have his yellow card overturned in time, or if at all. So it should be Taylor and Vitinho for the next game against Wolves. But yeah, Amdouni, I guess, is a topic that I've seen brought up quite a bit, and he's a weird player. He really is, because I think he actually is really good. I just don't think he suits what we need right now. I don't think he suits
Exactly
the English
that.
game right now. And I think if you put him for a team, I don't know, Marseille, playing in Ligue 1, he'll probably look like a world beater. But right now, he's not what we need. And we'll see what happens with him, because I still think there's a player there, but I just don't know where he suits us right now. But Cullen, I think, has a massive, massive shout for this game. I mean, for, I guess, the real man of the match, because Muric was just remarkable. But Cullen, he dictated that game. He wanted it.
Yeah.
And again, how he's not been playing for 5 months now is just stupid. Like, yes, he was poor start of the season, but as I said previously, so was everyone. And I just don't get how the player that we all know is key for Vincent Kompany's style of play has took this time to be forced in the same way that Taylor was also forced in to be given a chance as well. Taylor was never meant to be our first choice left back. We were playing Alderkiel and Delcroix left back. Connor Roberts.
Even Connor Roberts, yeah.
We were playing basically the entire defense other than Charlie Taylor before just said, you know what, let's play the left back at left back. Shock horror. He's our best left back. Sander Berg, I really love. I really do want him to shoot more. Like, so many times he just gets
same again, weren't it? Yeah.
runs. He's one of the best players I've seen that once he gets going, you cannot stop him. He's remarkable at doing that. And in that second half, he did that 2-3 times. That caused a chance to happen. But yeah, I guess my only real negative, the left-hand side, Vitinho and Amdouni, I don't really want to see ever again. And in terms of the next game, I mean, it should be now Foster up on top with Fofana, and then Amdouni will make the change, and that should really be it. Again, I like the team. I like the combination of Odobert and Brun Larsen. Odobert as well. I mean, that chance in the first half he had from the top.
Such a good effort, that.
Such a good effort. And for such a young kid as well, he's got the best decision making in our entire team, it feels like. And he's such a young kid. He's a real talent. And I think I really like how he's grown into the team in the last few weeks, that he feels like he really is one of our key players. So I'm just so happy, because I said before tons of times that I just want to have hope. I don't care if we lose, as long as we put in a fight. And if we go down, I don't mind if we go down, as long as we put in the fight, because again, I don't want to go down with a whimper. I don't want to feel embarrassed to be a Burnley fan, because at Arsenal home, I felt that way. I think many people did as well. And now I've got hope, and now I'm giddy. And yes, I was excited and taking a piss saying, season starts now. But my good Lord, season actually does start now, doesn't it? It really does.
It really does.
We've got Wolves. Come on.
Yeah.
We've been here before, boys. Been here before. And quite badly, but
we'll get on to the next 2 games in a minute. But wow, they are massive. But I just want to pick on something you said there, Liam, because you did say a lot, but there was something that I have written down here that I did want to talk about. And there's a comment from Danny Aston here, and obviously I'll come to you, Sam, on this one. Obviously, they're both available now for the Wolves game. Fofana obviously missed the Chelsea game due to it being his parent club. Lyle's been out recently due to injury. Probably did look again yesterday, probably lacking that little bit of match fitness, but the more minutes he plays, obviously, the better he'll get with that. What do we do now on Tuesday against Wolves? Do we have Fofana up top? Do we have Lyle up top and keep the same shape? Or do we play them both, as Liam says, and go with them both up top? Because I think that's probably something I would want to see at some point, but I'm not sure if it would work. So it might be too much of a risk for the Wolves game. What do you think, Sam?
I'd definitely try it. I mean, I think they look like 2 players that I think complement each other. I think they have the similarities in some senses, but they all do so. They also do play quite differently. Like, Foster's not really. An in the channel type player. I don't think he's the player that you play the ball over the top to. Whereas I feel like
Foster likes to come deep, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I feel like if Foster can hold the ball up and then we can get the ball into Fofana, I think that would be the best way to go. I'd definitely try it. I know what you mean about changing things up now, because there is also the argument of, I feel like we're in a place where we're starting to see a style of football with a formation and a specific style with players playing in certain positions. Completely agree with Liam. There's no way I want to see Amdouni on that left-hand side ever again. Except horrendous. It was one of the worst left-hand side performances I've seen. He just couldn't get anything going whatsoever.
It was just similar to him all season. Like, I mean, I will cut him a bit of slack today because as you both said, he's again out of position. But I've not seen anything from him all season other than the first 5
He's
games.
had glimmers. He's had glimmers in moments. His feet are really good. His ability to get out of tight situations is really good. I think he's a player that is clearly playing with a lack of confidence. Like I just see him. It almost feels like he's carrying this weight around with him. Like he was meant to come in and be the best player on the team, and he's not really fit into the system. And I feel like he plays like he carries that around. Personally, I don't think he plays with any element of confidence to his game. I mean, like I say, especially now. Look at the start of the season where we were in skill compilations. I mean, I didn't even know they existed. On Sky.
For Burnley players.
We're in skill compilations, and I'm doing it was 3-4 of them. But now you don't see him doing anything. He doesn't get the ball. He doesn't turn. He doesn't all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But then the other person for me that I'd shout out is Brun Larson. I think for the money that we could, I don't know if we've made the loan permanent, but his loan price was £1 million, £1.5 million. Regardless of what division we're in, pay it. Because he is so good. Like, his decision making can be off sometimes, but at least he throws himself around. I mean, he had like 4 or 5 decent opportunities where he was in the box and he was in the right area. He just lacked that conviction slightly, but he was in the right areas all the time. And I just think he plays with confidence. I think when he gets the ball, he likes to beat his man. He makes the. I just think he's a really good player. I think
Brun Larson looks like he would perfectly suit a Sean Dyche system.
Yeah,
he does, doesn't he? Yeah,
perfectly. Yeah. But I didn't realize how fast he was. Like I obviously thought he's like, he's a Robbie Brady. He's a more technical player. He's a Berg Gudmundsson. Like,
Gudmundsson's a perfect comparison.
You play the ball over top to Brun Larson, 9 times out of 10 he's beating you for pace. The bloke's rapid. Like I think he's really good, and I think he's solidified that right hand side now. The only headache is if we can get Koleosho back by the end of the season. Oh, could you imagine going into these last the last 7 or 6
Imagine
games,
the lift
and having Odebear and Koleosho and Foster and Fofana. Oh,
genuinely a European push. European push.
I'm pretty sure that I was told that he should be on the bench for Chelsea. So I was surprised to see him not there, but I know he's very, very close.
Yeah, he's definitely close.
I'd be surprised to see him not on the bench for Wolves or latest Everton, but I think he's on the edge. I think Bayer's also not far away too. That also does ask another question of if Bayer's fit, what happens there with Steve and also O'Shea.
In the nicest possible way to O'Shea, Bayer goes back into that team.
He's just scored the other day. The entire chat have been saying ole O'Shea, and you're gonna say drop him. My God.
I'm trying to think of Kai Havertz cost £75 million. He scored like 4 goals this season. It doesn't mean he's good all the time. He was horrendous today. He ran around like a headless chicken. Like, the thing with O'Shea is he scored a good edit the other day. Fair enough, but half of the issues that we've had this season have come from him and Trafford. So for me, if Bayer's back fit, I'd have him back in. I know he won't change everything all the time, but for me, Bayer was one of our best defenders. We spent £15 million on him, and before he got injured, everybody was devastated. Just because he's not been around for ages doesn't mean that he can't integrate himself back into the team. Like, he's definitely, him and Esteve are definitely our 2 best centre halves. So I
agree with that last bit. And if it wasn't for the last 2 games where O'Shea has been better with Muric there, I probably would be like, yeah, just get Bayer back in. But I think there's now a bit of an understanding between them two. And obviously Bayer will understand Muric as well. But probably the timing of it, if Bayer came, I don't think Bayer's going to come back, if I'm honest with you.
I don't think he'd start games. I think you'd see a gradual integration of him coming back in like we did with Ekdal. Like, you'd see 10 minutes at the end of a game, get a bit of match fitness, see how he gets on. But for me, I'd rather finish the season with his best players. Like, Bayer, what Bayer brings, is like he can carry the ball out, and I like that. He has the ability to play the ball. Like, I find with Dara, he he's not a brilliant distributor of the ball. And I know you're not necessarily you're not, as a centre half, you're not always meant to do that. But that last game was a little bit of a difficult representation of how you defend, because, like you say, we were forced into being 10 men. And then we sat in banks of 4 and had to defend, and we tried to defend high. So for a defender like O'Shea, it works. If the ball's coming in and trying to go over the top, he can mop them up pretty easily. It's the other side to his game that I struggle with O'Shea. And in my opinion, if Bayer's back, I'm not saying that he goes straight back in, but I'm saying there's a conversation for in the last five games, and he's had a couple of sub appearances. Do you start saying, I'd rather have my better centre half there than... Again, it all depends on how the next 3 games go, because O'Shea is going to be a centre half for the next 3-4 games.
Yeah.
So, but I just think I definitely think it's a selection conversation, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it will be. I've said my piece. I do want to pick this comment up here from Matthew Wilson. It says, Bayer can't go back in Kirtley anymore. O'Shea's improved laws. He's one you're looking at for player of the season. I never thought I'd say that in September.
Wow.
That's a bit far.
I wouldn't go that far.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is a bit far. He's been better since Mirovic has come in, and that's why if Bayer was here.
But that's 2 games. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
The sample size of O'Shea having good games is so much smaller. I know what we're saying, because we are also talking about like the situation of where we are now. Like, we are now having better performances, but I think that's more down to Mirovic than it is O'Shea.
Yeah,
I think Mirovic, like Liam says, what Mirovic brings is the calmness of being able to play the ball out from the back. His distribution to the fullbacks is perfect and pinpoint every time.
It's so good when he pings.
It's so nice to see.
For the entire first half, it was so good.
It's
man.
unbelievable. And then, like Liam says, like, he stops kicking, he can throw it 50 yards down the field. It doesn't matter. Some of the saves he was making, then ones into the bottom corner, he was catching them. Trafford had dived and flicked it over the bar to make it look unbelievable. It's just all you need to do is just save the ball, pick it up, and throw it out. Like,
his handling was really good. There was so many really low-driven shots. So it's like the skin in the surface that came at him, and he held it close every single time.
Catch, and then he'd always stand up, look, and play.
Yeah, that's an underrated aspect that people don't really think of. They think it's just it's normal, you just catch it, but it really isn't.
There's been a few goals we've conceded this season where Trafford's pushed it out.
Yeah. So again, I mean, Mirovic, we could talk about for 5 hours, and he is just, again, I cannot believe how much difference a goalkeeper can really make. But my God, I just can't believe it took until mid of March to play our best goalkeeper. It stuns my mind, honestly. But I'm just so happy to be in a situation to be even having a conversation, because really, what is 3 weeks ago, we were really 10 points behind or 11 points behind.
11 Granted, at some point.
Forest getting a point deduction is a massive part of that as well.
Yeah,
let's not ignore that.
Yeah, of course it was, but it's
4 points behind.
Yeah,
4. We beat Wolves, and if Forest don't beat Fulham, it's 1 or 2 we're behind with 7 games left.
Stars are aligning for this situation to happen. Like you say, we were down and out 3 weeks ago. It's 11 points. That's 4 wins effectively to try and get out of that. You're hoping everybody else doesn't pick up any points. Like, we are now
we need to win 4, I think,
we're 4 points off. If we beat Wolves, which we have a good track record against Wolves, and the last couple of performances give you that, that bit of chest to say we could actually compete in this game, and that's a competitive game. I went into that Chelsea game off the back of the performance against Brentford and thought, you know what, we could get something here. And I'm exactly the same again. We can beat Wolves on Tuesday, and if we do, we're 1 point behind Luton. Okay, we need other results to go there for us as well. But it's like this weekend. Luton were winning 1-0 for so long in that game. 1-1, finally. Son scores right at the end. Yeah. Sheffield United. I know we're saying that they're not there. I keep saying to my dad, you don't want them right there next year. You want them dead and buried, and it's you trying to get out of it. You want one team just completely gone. You don't want 3 teams able to get out of the relegation zone. You want it to be us, Luton and Forest, and we're all just battling to stay out of it. You don't want them up your ass trying to pull out of it as well. You just want them gone. So that's a fantastic result in itself. Everton losing as well. It's brilliant. We're in such a better position now, and credit to the Premier League.
I mean, Sheffield United, they're the only team that can go 4-1 up and still draw 3-3.
I still struggle with that last goal being offside. I am struggling to find out where that offside actually is.
I agree with that one. I do agree with that one. Just want to give a quick shout out to our new YouTube member, Milltown Dingle. As you can see, the names of the YouTube members are running across the bottom of your screen now. You can join the channel. If you look underneath the video now, there's a button that says join. You press that, and then you can choose to join the channel. It's just a way of supporting the channel. And you will get stuff like early release on the pre-game shows and more stuff coming for next season. So yeah, please feel free to do it. Obviously, no pressure, but shout out to Milltown Dingle for joining the channel. Obviously, somebody else that's done very well since coming in is Joshua Cullen. And the fact that somebody said this comment earlier, and I am going to steal it. The fact that we haven't barely mentioned Sander Berg shows how well that Cullen's played, because Sander is and has been class all season, and he was good again yesterday, but he's now been overshadowed by his midfield partner Cullen, because Cullen's the one that does all the dirty work and then gets it to Sander, as we've explained before on the other one. But yeah, Liam, Cullen, fantastic again. And it's mad that's there's two balmy decisions for me that's been made by a company. Putting Trafford in the team and then sticking by him. The main two. Putting Trafford in the team and then sticking by him. And then dropping Cullen, I kind of understood, because at the start of the season, as we said, he was poor, he was trying something different. But then we've maintained that level of poorness throughout the season, and then he's still not brought him in. Now he's brought him in, and we just look so much better. And again, we'll get onto the man of the matches soon, so please don't put the comments in there yet. But he's got to be in there with a shout, and obviously so does Mjoric. But yeah, Cullen, fantastic again. I love that man. Absolutely, and he comes across like a captain. He's got the leadership as well. In a team that's such a young team, that we've said many times before, that, you know, when you have such a young team, you're looking at people to look at, to mentor you. And Cullen's not necessarily old himself, but he looks like he's much older than he actually is. And he's got that leadership. I love the fact that he doesn't really smile. I want that from my captain. I want seriousness. Yeah. I want it to be business. And that's how he treats it. And that's what I really love from him. And you know what? I didn't say this, but before the game, like 10 minutes before, I remember when I was looking up videos about Cullen, I remember him like scoring like a winner when he was like West Ham under-21s, and he scored a winner at Stamford Bridge at the same end. And I was like, yeah, I think Cullen can score here. I got a good feeling about it. And I thought of that in my mind. And like when I saw him score, I just felt like it was just all meant to be. But perfect performance of him. He ran like a captain. He ran like a leader, and he controlled the team as well. You could see him screaming, shouting at people, getting positions, mark your man, track this man. And that wasn't just for only him. The entire back line was absolutely fantastic, Muric included. But that's what you need. When you're up against it, you want fighters. I was listening to a Toffee TV, Everton fan channel, when they lost to Bournemouth, saying, why is no one angry? So many times that like they come to the end of the game and they all look a bit deflated. They all look dejected, and no one's fighting. No one's really angry about any decisions. And I feel like the tide is changing now, that we are really fighting for each other here. So it's just a complete night and day compared to where we was at a month ago. And again, it makes a real massive difference playing just simple two players. And that's sometimes all you need to change the season. Yeah, really. Obviously, you go back to the season under Dyche as well, where we changed Heaton in the team, obviously from Hart. And I think McNeil came in around that time as well. Similar thing, changed a couple of players. But Sam, word on Cullen, obviously got the goal as well, and a decent strike as well. It was a great finish, weren't it? As somebody said in the comments, outside of the foot, and as Liam's already referenced, a young West Ham lad scoring at Chelsea. I bet he absolutely loved that. But great finish, great performance, absolutely brilliant in the middle. Yeah,
it's a brilliant goal, a brilliant performance. I think the reason why Sander's not getting the plaudits, I completely agree with the Cullen shout, but I also think it's because Cullen can shore up the things that now Sander doesn't have to do. Sander doesn't have to run around on his own now, doing it all on his own. He can be the one that gets the ball in midfield and drives it. I think them two complement each other so well. I think that midfield has now solidified itself. And the only point that I'll go back to is, what a surprise that two players from the promoted team of last season, two players that we're talking about once again for being brilliant for Burnley. You know, it just begs the question of, why is it taken 25 games for you to realise that? But now we're in a position where we can really kick on, really, really, really genuinely, you know, give these last 8 games a real go. And I've seen enough from 2 games, albeit 2 games is a small sample size.
I didn't think West Ham was also a good game too, by the way.
Yeah, it was a good game, but it was a good game. But I think we've seen enough now to genuinely have a bit of belief. And for me, it's something to actually believe in. I believe in the system now. I believe in the players. I believe in the performances. I believe in the fight that they have, because for weeks we always talked about, and I know football's not always like this, but if you look dejected on the pitch and you're shipping 5 goals week in, week out, don't ask me to come spend my money in club shop and travel 2 hours over to turf and watch abysmal performances and celebrate it like I'm really enjoying it. I'm not. So now I actually feel like I can really genuinely totally back this notion that we're going for. The fight yesterday was incredible. And if we can use that fight in these next 8 games, there is absolutely no way that we cannot stay in this division. And if we do, how on earth have we done it, first of all? Second of all, I'll be the happiest man on the planet, because we get another Premier League transfer window. We get another Premier League transfer window. We get to spend another £110 million, and this time, do it properly.
Yeah, this time the top 10 charge is on. That this time, I meant next season.
You'll have to tweet it. Yeah, you'll have to tweet it again and just put an asterisk next to it. Like I meant
put this season and just put like it didn't happen. Like it wasn't.
I'm not even going to tempt fate. I'm not even going to do that because people say that I've cursed us again.
To be fair, the amount of pelters that you got for that were hilarious. But that's why we do it. That's why we put it out there.
The best part.
Absolutely fantastic.
The thing is, right, my actual prediction, I think, was 14th. That was my actual prediction.
Mine was 11th to 14th, and we'll still way off.
I still go back all the time.
We can still maybe finish 15th. Still possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
True.
It's possible. I still go back to that. I still go back to that video that we did at the start of the season, the prediction show. I just could not believe what I was hearing. Neil was like, "Oh, we might be in and around the champion, pushing the Europa League, but I'd say 10th." And I'm like, Neil, what are you on, mate? What are you on?
I wonder if he still thinks company out, actually. Just want to...
100%.
That would have been a good chat tonight, wouldn't it? But he did put something in the group chat yesterday, didn't he? He were fishing, to be fair to him, because he put a fishing emoji. But he said, lads, notice how much better we were in the second half when company wasn't on the touchline.
I know.
But he was being facetious, obviously.
Wait till we get to the end of the season, see what he's like. And that group chat will go off. If we manage to stay in the league, we'll be like, Neil has left the group chat.
I do find it a bit mad. I've been looking at the teams around us. So up from 20th, which is Sheffield United, to Palace in 14th. We are the only team joint with Palace that has 1 win. Like everyone else in the last 5 games have all got basically 3 losses and 2 draws. I think pretty much, literally everyone's got 3 losses and 2
Luton's
draws.
form is horrendous. Obviously, it only goes back the last 5 games, the one that we're looking at now on screen. Excuse me, but Luton's form is horrendous. It is really bad.
It doesn't take much. It simply does not take much. 2 wins on a bounce, and which sounds mad for us to say, considering our form for the entire season. But if we beat Wolves and Everton somehow back-to-back, then...
Oh, man.
We're flying.
Don't do this to me.
Flying.
I'm trying Everton, not to think too much about that. I think
Everton have won 2 home games all season as well. You could check probably in that little thing you're on there right now. Like standings, Everton. Sorry, 3 times they've won all year. But I think the last time they've won last time Everton have won a game was back in 2023. They've not won a game since then. They've been so poor. It does not take much at all for us to get out of this. It really doesn't, considering how poor everyone else is. And again, I'm deluded. That's the entire point. But if we beat Wolves, absolutely, we should have 4 reasons to believe we could get out of this. No reason to think that we shouldn't.
Yeah, the Wolves game is massive. Like, if we've built this momentum up, and yes, we're not dead and buried if we lose on Tuesday, of course we're not. But we've built all this momentum up now, and fans are starting to believe again. You can see the players are starting to believe again. If we now go into Tuesday night and get beat 2-0, it proper deflates it all, and everyone's back to deflate it again, and it will proper just kill us. I think Tuesday is massive. If we can get a win on Tuesday, I'm not going to sit here and say we'll do it, but if we can get a win on Tuesday,
I'll do that for you, mate. I'll do that for you.
We are properly back in it. And if we go on then and beat Everton at Everton, we are 100% staying up.
I mean,
That
the idea of Sean Dyche's set pieces terrifies the absolute life of me, and my face is being covered on screen. Cheers for that, True Red. It scares me. I can't lie.
That's normally Neil's position, to be fair. But yeah, the Dyche thing, I think I said it on the Fan Reaction podcast. You look at Everton's form, you look that they haven't won since 16th of December, as a True Red just says, which was against us. You look that they haven't won at home, and they all want him out, and we could genuinely go there, beat them, and potentially get him sacked. You just know it's going to be a comfortable win for Everton. When you look at the fact that they haven't won at home since like October or whatever it is, they haven't won an actual match since December, you put everything in there, you work it out, and you just think, comfortable Everton win. But I'm hoping not to.
This is what I want. I want delusion. I don't care if we go down as long as we go on with a fight. I want to have delusion for the last couple of games, thinking if we could get results at Old Trafford, we're staying up.
Good point here by Dale, to be fair. Good point here by Dale, to be fair. We might be better against Dyche's set pieces with Muric in the net.
Mm-hmm. He did play at Goodison though when we lost. And
he
did.
That's a point. Dale, what a shit point that was. But yeah.
But if we just have Vitinho not marking James Tarkowski, maybe this time we can maybe stand more of a chance. Because I think that happened for both goals.
Yeah, Tarky's getting a goal again, and of course he is. And obviously Dwight will probably get one.
Neil's shushing us again.
Yeah. But something else I want to do, speaking of run-ins, big shout out to Chris who did this for us. I'll have to get rid of the banner at the bottom. This one's now I brung something like this in last week as well, but this one's colour coded. So I've gone with this one this week. Big shout out to the other chap that sends it to me as well. But this one is colour coded. So on the left hand side, you can't see it because of the live thing in the top left hand corner. That's Sheffield United's fixtures. Then you've got Burnley's. Then you've got Luton's. Then you've got Forest. Then you've got Everton's. And if you look at them, we've still got to play Wolves, Everton, Brighton, Sheffield United. The next 4 games, they're all winnable. They really are all winnable. Could you imagine if we win 3 of them? Then you've got Man United away. They're not the team they used to be fair, but probably will get beat. Newcastle at home, winnable. They're in dire straits. Spurs away. And then the big one. I genuinely think we're going to be within a shout on the last day. I think it's going to be Forest at home that seals our fate. I really do. But Everton, if you look at Everton's, they've got to play Newcastle, then they've got us, then they've got to play Forest, then they've got to play Brentford, then they've got to play Luton, then they've got to play Sheffield United. I look at Everton's set of fixtures and think they'll be all right. I look at them and think they'll be okay. Yeah. They've got a few winnable games there, despite everything we've just said. But looking at that, lads, how's the delusion train doing?
Oh, I've booked my ticket. I'm on board. I think for all teams, I think, Forest have to go get results against some pretty difficult teams. They've got to play Spurs, City, Chelsea. They're not easy games. We just have to do our business in the games where it's relevant.
Yeah, the next 4 are so big, man.
Yeah, of course. I mean, mate, you can look at the Brighton game if you wanted to out of all those fixtures and say, Brighton, United and Spurs and even Newcastle are the games where you're saying, okay, if we don't pick up points, if we don't win, fair.
I'm just adding that Luton beat Brighton 4-0 at home. That's all I'm going to add on to that.
And we had a great performance against Brighton at the Amex. So there is an absolutely, there's a huge factor in there that we could still beat them. However, those 4 games of Wolves, Everton, Sheffield United, Forest, those are the 4 games where, like we said when we lost away to Bournemouth, and we were like, look where Bournemouth are now. It's made sense now. But look where Bournemouth were at the time. You're just like, how on earth have these just come? And we've had 1 shot from Charlie Taylor, and then the rest of the game was just defending against a team that's in and around us. We just have to go into those games, and we have to just give it everything. I always hate people saying, these next games are cup finals. I always hate it, but Company's absolutely right. These were 9 cup finals now. You have to go into it thinking every single game has dire consequences if we don't pick up points. And the fight, like I said,
I hope no one dies. Jesus.
Oh, yeah, obviously. But now from this Chelsea performance, I've booked tickets for the whole family. That delusion train is well and truly outside my house, and I've booked tickets for everyone. I'm on it. I'm ready.
Direct after full time the other day, I was actually instantly looking at Ryanair flights thinking, can I make it to Wolves on Tuesday actually in time? I may be angry with the missus, but how cheap are the tickets? And it was actually relatively cheap, but I kind of don't want to be stabbed. So, I'm trying to work out. Sadly, I'm definitely open for the Forest game. I've already bought my flights for that, so I'm there no matter what. But I don't know. I want to try to go to. If we get a result or something, I actually just want to try to scrape into Everton away. I really want to.
Yeah, it'd be mint.
Yeah, I think I'm going Everton. But I have booked a family weekend away for the weekend of the Sheffield United game because we were 11 points away, and I'm like, oh, it's an irrelevant game. It's away. I'll just miss it. Now I'm gutted. Now I'm trying to think, well, how can I get out of this? But obviously I can't. So I'm the same as you, Liam. Yes, I don't want to get stabbed. But obviously we always have to do the man of the match poll. So get your votes in. I'll quickly do an ad read, then I'll ask the lads, then I'll bring all your comments up on. In fact, no, I'll bring your comments up on screen first, then add the lads. So let me know who your man of the match was, please, in the chat. But first, before we do that, we have exciting news to bring you from Uphold, Burnley's sleeve sponsor for the 23-24 season and a supporter of Turfcast podcast. Uphold now have launched a limited edition Burnley Uphold card, giving fans a chance to show their support. Home and away, the card is free and comes with a host of benefits, including the ability to spend in any currency anywhere in the world where MasterCard is accepted with no foreign transaction fees, competitive exchange rates, and easy integration with Google or Apple Pay. Get your card today at www.uphold.com/BurnleyFC. But that's not all. When fans use their card for the first time, Uphold will donate £5 to Burnley in the community, supporting the Burnley family, both on and off the pitch. Numbers are limited. So again, visit www.uphold.com/BurnleyFC and get your card today. Terms and conditions apply. But yes, get them man of the match polls in. Good to see them all coming in. And actually, I do want to just say, shout out to Jay Rodriguez as Fiber Fred there because he came on and did very, very well. I do agree with that. There's been a lot to talk about, to be fair, and we have done an hour and we haven't mentioned Jay once, and he played very well. He did play very, very well. Right. Anyway, man of the match one. Cullen says Chris. Claret and Blue 1882 says definitely Muric. Cullen says Adrian. Reese James says Cullen. Milltown Dingle says Cullen easy. Dale Husband says Muric kept us in the game in those early saves. He really, really did. O'Shea, the dentist, says John Robertson. Lovely teeth on that man. Clara Owl says Muric. Burnley season says Cullen. Tony says Josh Cullen. Kian says Muric. Kian's comment didn't come up. There it is. Quilter says Cullen. Between Muric and Steve. Yeah, Steve, we have not really mentioned Steve. I know I mentioned him a little bit earlier, but he played very well yesterday as well. Moretti Marus says Muric. Doc Holiday says Cullen. Ginger Ellis says Cullen. True Red says Cullen. Twin City Clarets says Cullen. So mainly the people are going for Cullen. Burnley till I die. Stuart Rhodes. All the old guard did well, says Clarets. Man of the match, Darren England for all the wrong reasons, says Flyer Fred. Obviously, Darren England isn't getting it. But for me, lads, my man of the match, just going with the crowd. No, obviously I would have said it anyway. He's Cullen. I think he with a ticking heartbeat there. What are your thoughts, Liam? You disagreeing with that with the arm in the air?
Nope.
Totally agree.
Fair enough. Nope. And that's the end of the man of the match debate. Thank you everybody for participating. But yeah, we've spoken about him already, so we're just going to repeat ourselves, aren't we? But he is the beating heart, as John said earlier. He makes us tick. He made us tick last season, and it's good that I'm seeing him doing it now in the Premier League because I did have reservations about him earlier in the season, to be fair. And I do feel like he was dropped rightfully.
Can we do a quick prediction for the Wolves game? Can we have a bit of a
Can do. We can.
New
6-0. 6-0, yeah. Look ahead to the Wolves game. We can do it very quickly. Obviously, as we've already said, how important it is. We need to win. For us to be back in with a chance. Yes, we can get beat and still be okay, but it will deflate us so much. So, yes, get your comments coming in. I see the comments have already started coming in, but Liam's new segment, we'll call it the next match prediction, sponsored by the Visa YouTube channel. But, yeah, Liam, I'll let you start then. Your prediction, I'm going 2-0 Burnley.
Oh, I don't... You know what? I think it'd be the exact same or similar-ish to the Mate Vidra 1-0 win from 2 seasons ago.
Funny, as a Wolves fan at work, and he said, Mate Vidra's still going to score against us. He always does. He's not confident.
Where's he from?
Yeah.
I've got such a good feeling about it. I really do. I just everything right now. And it's probably because it's the only time this season that I've actually had 2-3 games in a row that we've actually had some decent results. So I'm up for it right now. I'm looking forward to see hopefully for Fana and Foster together, I believe that'd be a nice little combination. Where sadly do you put Odobert and then Byrne Lawson? Do you put Foster in the middle, then Odobert left and Byrne Lawson right? Because Foster can hold it up, but I don't know if the best way around that. Because Vitinha will be on the right back because we have no other option there. Because Assignon, I doubt we'll have his yellow card turned over in time anyway. So
I don't think you can get him turned over anyway, can you? Second,
I don't know. Second yellow cards, I don't think so. But I saw someone with a screenshot from Google that maybe you can. But nonetheless, I doubt he'll be back in time anyway. So I just got such a good feeling. I think 1-0 win. I think it'll be tense as hell. And I just feel like Manuel Benson may do something. I just got a feeling like
We've not seen him all season. He's here in the biggest game we need him in. There he is.
I got a feeling. I got a feeling for when we played Chelsea, and I saw the Cullen video just before the game happened, and I've got the same feeling now with Benson, I think. And if Benson does score a winner, then I'm booking the flight sub for Everton away immediately. And I don't even have tickets. I'll try to see if I can pay someone 100 quid or something to give me there. So we'll see what happens.
Well, interesting from John Robertson. He says there's no Neto, no Hwang, and possibly no Kuna. So if they're all out, lads, I'm sticking up to 3-0.
That scares me because West Ham and Palace had the same thing. No, we've gone through this enough times.
Yeah, true. There is that. Sam, your predictions for the Wolves game, please.
2-1. I just can't ever see us getting a clean sheet ever. But if we can outscore them, then I'd say 2-1 because I think it's set up for us. I didn't think they played particularly. I mean, I know Villa are a great team this season, but they didn't look in the game at all the other day. Like they just looked lost, and they didn't really have any pattern of play. And it looked like a lot of individuals on a pitch. I know we've said that about us, but we now look like a much better team, and I have full confidence that we can bounce into that game and really make a statement with a win. So
we have to, though, don't we? We have to. If we are going to do this, and if the stars are aligning, as you said earlier, we have to go into Tuesday night. The turf has to be rocket. I love Tuesday night games, especially when weather's a little bit nicer like this. Turf Moor, under the lights, massive game. You've got to back Burnley in that scenario. We've got the buzz back. Wolves are not really playing for anything anymore, really. I've not checked that far up the table. For all I know, there could be a few points off like Conference League or whatever. But I don't feel like they're playing for anything anymore. I just feel like turf, under lights Tuesday, massive game, need a win. I think we'll do it. And I've not said that this season yet. So naturally.
Oh, it's exciting, isn't it? Oh, I love it.
It's exciting again.
Boys, delusion train.
It's so nice. I can smile on the podcast finally.
First time this season. At least we're not being called miserable and negative today. I'm sure someone will put it in the comments now. I've said it. But 1 hour 15. Start wrapping it up. Unless there's something you lads want to add before I start wrapping it up.
Just keep smiling. Just keep smiling.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy right now. I'm really happy. Just all around good time.
What a weekend. What a weekend.
I do also like the fact that we're playing so soon as well. I like playing on Tuesday. Yeah. Like it's not long to wait. I can, I really enjoyed that win against Brentford and having 2 weeks of no football. So I could just be really happy and just be deluded for literally 2 weeks straight. And I thought it was going to end at the weekend, but no, it's continuing and it's gathering at a very
I love this delusion train thing that everyone's doing on Twitter. I absolutely love it. And I can't wait to tweet about it again. It's an Easter delusion train at the minute, and it's rolling through the bank holidays. There's no stopping at the stations of bank holidays. There's no going into the depot. It's rolling through, and it's coming to Turf Moor on Tuesday night. And I do think we'll win. I will hopefully get a pre-game show done. I do have Dave coming on from Talking Wolves. I haven't sorted a time out with him yet. I'll message him actually as soon as I finish this, see if he's up for tomorrow morning. So the pre-game show should be out at some point tomorrow, but we are going to wrap it up there. So I do want to say a massive thank you to Sam, a massive thank you to Liam. They both gave me an hour and 15 of their time on Easter Sunday. So a massive shout out to you boys for doing that. I really do appreciate it. I do. And a big shout out to everybody for watching, everybody commenting. If you did join the stream late, if you don't know by now, as soon as I press end stream, the video does go on YouTube as a watch alone video, so you can go back and watch it at your leisure. And as soon as I've done this, I will be putting the podcast out as well. So that will be the second podcast we've uploaded today, because we do have the fan reaction podcast now. So that's why I'm constantly asking people. Thank you for putting that on the screen, Sam. You've thrown me off my bloody train now. But so we are asking people to send in more fan reactions. So if you do want to send in a fan reaction, it now goes on the fan reaction podcast as well. So drop us a DM. I'll let you know how to get involved. But shout out to Liam as well for doing that, and to Andrew and to Josh as well. Neil, you're sacked again. Another no-show from Neil.
Get out.
Get out, Neil. You're done. But no, thank you, lads, for coming on the show. The podcast will be up pretty much within the next half an hour if you'd rather listen to it, or you're going out for a dog walk or a run or whatever, or you're driving somewhere. But thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And we will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.